Hi guys, welcome to Tarot in the Dark. My name is Tori. Thanks for joining. We're going to dig in and just see what messages come through. Ancestors. Let's go. I was calling on them, guys. I meditate and do that before I started the reading, but anyways, okay guys, so this deck here is the Narata storytelling cards. I only pull these out like in personal readings. I don't think I've ever used them on YouTube, but anyways, it's because some of the messages are a little spooky. They're very accurate though. Let me just tell you guys, I'm warning you. Okay, so lost, and then teacher. So this is showing up immediately with a message of something that you think was stolen or taken from you was actually like a blessing in disguise. It was a gift. There were lessons to be learned in that experience. And it's also showing up as like they were lessons to help to align you to where you want to be. Okay. So for someone, you may have felt like you were, look like shipwrecked. You could have felt like maybe you were shipwrecked in life, like your boat just capsized, like you missed out or you lost something. But this is about to be like there's a revealing that's coming through. The reason why this had to happen is going to be revealed to you, okay? So, and it's going to be revealed to you in a way that is going to be profound. Something's going to transpire or take place, and you're going to be like, wow, this makes perfect sense that I lost that, or that is no longer a part of my life, okay? We have the reptile card here. Oh, and this excavation. Okay? And then look at what's underneath here. It's unexpected help. And then underneath that, guys, is a child in reverse. So I'm picking up a message that for a lot of you, you had to shed or release some version of you. And the only way to get it out was to cause something almost catastrophic to happen. It's almost like your ancestors were the archaeologists in your life for a long period of time, where they were digging and digging and digging and trying to like pull these things up to the surface, and there was some resistance. So instead, they're like, no, we're going to send in like supernatural help to support you so that you can release these things, shed these energies. Okay, and I'm hearing even right now, it's these energies are being released and removed from your life in order to prepare you for something greater. And it's going to come by ways that are unexpected. Okay, so the ways and the people that come in to assist and support you, I just saw the love card. So love partnerships, they're going to come from people and places that you're not anticipating. But the reason why this can now happen, because see, what they're showing is you weren't open to this unexpected help. Okay, you wouldn't just open yourself up to receive from anybody based on how confined you were due to the poison that was given to you by some other situation. It could be basically like a boss, or some type of career path that you were on. It could be family, it could be friends, it could be a partner, a spouse, a husband, a wife. Something like that is coming through as being poisonous for you, and it's like they needed to get that away from you, get you away from that energy and remove that energy from your life, because it's almost like you didn't realize that they were secretly setting out to go against you, like almost devour you. Like they're showing a snake like wrapping itself around somebody's body. So it's like you didn't know that this energy was metaphorically strangulating you. That could also show up as like siphoning your energy, robbing you of peace, of joy, of happiness. See, they're showing now that you were lost. You were lost. You were lost in this experience. And you needed some assistance. You needed a way out. You needed advice and like a map. You needed a compass, assistance with finding your way out. Look, this even says woods and a ghost town. It's almost like you were disconnected from your authenticity, disconnected from yourself. And then they're showing me this as like it was like a handicap for you with this disability here. It was like you were completely lacking the discipline and structure that you needed in your life. So your ancestors are like, no, no, no. No, no, sweetheart, we got to get you out of that situation because you deserve so much more. And so they're like, excavation activated, right? Like, get them out of there. I think this is interesting too that this says Atlantis. Okay, that's very interesting because there's something about ancient, and that is obviously connected to ancestors, right? The ancient treasures. And so there's lessons and gifts in this excavation that you're not seeing, and it's going to come, if it hasn't already, by unexpected opportunities, experiences, right? Things that may appear as coincidences, but they're not. They're prayers that are answered. This is divine intervention. And for a lot of you, I think it has a lot to do with the inner child, because this child, I keep seeing this, and this child came up in the reverse here. It's like you were maybe giving or maybe had given yourself over to this experience and no longer able to enjoy life through the lens of a child. Like there was no freedom in you, is how this feels. Like maybe you felt orphaned in this experience. Maybe you felt disconnected. And your ancestors are, that's the awesome thing about them. They're not going to leave us stuck and trapped in situations that are not good for us, especially when we're praying and asking for help. So that situation was used to activate your natural gifts, but also to bring you back to something. Okay, like this creativity card coming out is showing that child energy within you was trapped. It was lost. And it was in this ghost town. Like basically you ghosted your own identity in a situation or a person. And so this creativity is showing up as like rewriting your story. So it's like you're now in a space where you are rewriting your story. There's something that is in you and it's currently like locked away. There's treasures within you that are locked away is what I'm hearing. And you don't recognize these treasures because it's almost like they have to go through a process. They're showing me someone painting. And you know, when you paint, you use different brushes at different points and times within the painting, right? If you've ever done like a sip and wine or something, no, sip and paint. I'm like sip and wine. It is wine. That's what you're sipping. A sip and paint. You know, you go through the sip and paint. You have an instructor teaching. You have a teacher who's showing you how to paint this picture. Your ancestors are the teacher in your life right now, and your guides, God, Spirit. They're your teachers in this moment, and what they're doing is teaching you how to create a new life. Wow. It's like you've been given these different paintbrushes and they're like, let's let you test these things out and figure out what is aligned with you, what fits you, and what doesn't. And they're asking you to tap into that inner child, to open up to exploring your imagination. You know, that's so awesome too, because they've been speaking a lot about like childlike energy of dreaming again. And you know, while we're in Pisces season, this to me is like the perfect time to open up to dreaming, because this is the perfect time. You're in the perfect season to open up to exploring delusional thoughts and ideas. And so it's like utilize this season to allow yourself to play, to create, to navigate through things and experiences that you would typically find, you know, like unamusing, or that you would typically think like, oh no, I don't really need to do that, I'm an adult. Allow yourself to play. For some of you, that may mean like going to an art gallery. That may mean going to those, you know, the, what are they called? The rooms where you can break stuff and, you know, throw bottles up against the wall, and it's basically like a crash out room or something like that, they call them. You may want to explore those ventures, maybe doing some skydiving or something out of the norm that you wouldn't typically do. And it's because it's going to open you up to a different version of yourself. Maybe it's going to open you up to the version of you that's been locked. The version of you that's been hidden. It's going to require some type of like different activities, because there is a version of you that's been locked, and it's because it's been lost. There was something that happened in your life, and it doesn't have to be in adulthood. I'm going to keep this out here. But there was something that happened in your life that locked away the treasures. It locked away the version of you that was free to roam about, like the home within you, which is your true authentic self shining through. That home within you has been lost and locked away due to experiences in life and not being able to freely access your imagination. That's interesting. I hope they give advice or something on how to tap into that energy. Okay. So the wisdom card came out, but at the bottom of the deck is self-support. I love this. And this self-support card, they were showing that it's 222 on the clock, guys, too, just heads up. There's something here about this self-support where they're asking you to it's like finding a version of you that can be relied upon, that can be dependable. And what they're saying is dependable in a sense that you're able to find that place and escape there whenever you are feeling lost, whenever you're feeling depleted. So this gives me like Four of Cups energy, not this card, but it's like they're showing me the Four of Cups to say that when you feel melancholic, when you feel disappointed, or when you just feel kind of like bored with life, okay, it doesn't mean that there's anything going on. I think oftentimes we don't realize that we can have everything that we hope to manifest and still find ourselves in that Four of Cups energy where we're just kind of melancholic about life, right? And like for me, I could find myself there. That's very Piscean, that Four of Cups energy, where you're just kind of like, nothing's going on. Like everything could be great in my life, and I'm just kind of like, whatever, you know? So if you find yourself in that energy, this is saying to find a reason to reverse it almost. It's like flip it on its head, because this feels like a mirror, but it's almost like a reversal of the mirror because they're not facing each other. So there's something about relying on and depending upon yourself in order to stretch you, in order to grow you, in order to bring into life the things that you desire. Okay, I get it. That makes sense. Thank you. Thank you, team. It's like you're the one that waters the grass to allow it to grow. You're the fertilizer. You notice that some of these flowers are closed off and others are open. She's pouring into herself. She's self-supportive. And something about that is going to allow you to open up. They're telling me, I don't know, guys, let's go with this. They're telling me that there's something about relying on yourself that that is magical, they're saying. There's something about relying upon yourself that gives you, it does too. This makes perfect sense. The reliance, total reliance upon yourself and no one else gives you autonomy, but it also gives you a sense of like being proud, right? Like, wow, I can actually like manage things on my own. I don't need someone else to come in and rescue me or to do something for me. You know, there's a, I can't think of the word right now, but there's a, um, it's like a sense of, hold on. It's a sense of achievement or accomplishment. Guys, Mercury is retrograde in my sign, so bless my mouth and my words. I've been praying that I can get these readings out. I kind of warned you guys the other day, so please just work with me. You guys know I'm already kind of like a ditz. I'm naturally very like la, 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 like Dory, silly, goofy. So just please work with me and forgive me in advance. It's not on purpose that I just go blank, but it's just what happens. I personally think it's funny. I laugh at myself all the time. I'm not offended by anybody thinking anything about me. It's just funny and it's just who I am. So anyways, there's something in that too, is that self-support will align you with the ability to be content with all versions of you. And this is something that is very hard to accomplish, guys. It's hard to look at ourselves, and especially as women, no shade to men, they have a completely different version of this, but I can only speak about a woman's experience because that's what I am. But as a woman, I know it's very challenging to just appreciate and value all parts of yourselves, because society teaches us that we have to be a certain way, look a certain way, act a certain way. And when you don't fall into alignment with that, you can be, you know, ostracized or shaded or frowned upon. And I know that's happened to me several times in my life, just based on me just being different. And you know, when you're self-supportive, you don't need that validation from anyone else, because you recognize that all parts of you and all versions of you, they're saying, are beautiful, unique, and you're able to do this, to see the wisdom in those moments. See, oftentimes as humans, we are comparing ourselves, like, oh man, I just want to get to, even if it's not to another person, because a lot of times people say, oh, you're comparing yourselves. I'm like, I've never like compared myself to anyone else, but what I do that is comparison, and you may find yourself doing the same thing without realizing it, is that I compare myself to where I want to be. And so that's comparison. So something like this is an example. Oh man, I should totally be here. Like, there's no way I shouldn't be over this. Especially for me, when it comes to healing, guys. Oh my gosh, I will devour myself. I don't need anybody else to say anything to me. I'm like, I should be past this. I know better, you know? And that's comparing, because says who? And what I've learned and what I have to remind myself of is that I need to support myself at every version of who I am. That every version of who I am unlocks some version of me that I've never experienced before. It also unlocks wisdom that I've never attained before. It opens up my gifts in new ways. It allows me to see myself through a different lens, and it affords me the opportunity to fly at a different level than I was before. And I don't mean levels like, oh, now I'm promoting. It's more so like, maybe I was flying here and seeing things from this perspective, but now I can fly a little lower and I can see things from a different perspective, or I can fly a little higher, or I can come back and forth. There's no levels as in like, this is better, or this person is higher. There's none of that. But what it is allowing yourself to gain wisdom through a different lens. You know, in the reading that I recorded yesterday, they were talking to me about glasses, a lot about glasses, telling us that, you know, you see things through a different color glasses based on your life experiences. And that's what happens here, is that when you're able to support yourself, when you're able to see yourself through the lens of wisdom and beauty, and pick up those nuggets of wisdom and beauty that are gained in each version of you, you can rely completely on yourself and allow yourself to fall into a space of no longer feeling lost. So So it removes the version of you that feels lost, because you're not necessarily ceasing to learn from each opportunity, right? Because there's something that they're showing me in regards to when you feel lost, you may be seeking to learn something. You may feel lost due to a lack of learning as well, right? And that these experiences that you've had in the past that may have been looked at as losses were actually lessons. And there's something about like not forcing, and that's why they're saying just become self-supportive, like more support for yourself, more grace for yourself, rather than what they're showing here, which is like, you know, beating yourself up when you feel like you're missing something, when you feel like you haven't unlocked what it is that you think you should have unlocked by now. Like they're saying, gain the wisdom in that moment, because in that moment there's a lesson and there's wisdom that can be gained in regards to being kinder to yourself, applauding yourself for everything else that's been unlocked. And the reality of it is, and they're saying this too, that there's something about life that doesn't allow us or afford us the opportunity to never ever stop learning. And they're saying that that's the gift. We oftentimes are so caught up in trying to accomplish something, to get somewhere, to fall in a specific place, that we forget to just enjoy and embrace the moment. That right now, in this very moment, there's something that we can learn. And that's the beauty of it. And that's where wisdom comes into play. You know, wisdom is the understanding and knowledge, but putting it into action. Because we can have all of the understanding and all of the knowledge in the world, but if we don't utilize it, if it's just sitting on a shelf, or if it's stagnant, if it's not flying, if it's not adjusting and adapting, if it doesn't applaud itself and give grace to itself, then it is pointless. These pieces of wisdom, these nuggets, these keys that are being unlocked, like every corner that you turn, that you unlock something, you're also opening yourself up to more creativity. Because what they're saying is that when we're children, we're creative because we don't have the rules and the boundaries, the restrictions that we place on ourselves as adults. And we learn those restrictions, boundaries, and to put up those walls, which are really just like defense mechanisms. They're saying that these are, you know how they're showing them to me? As like, little baby cages that you put up at the doors, like the little gates, the half gates that you put up at the doors to block the babies from going out. They're saying we put those boundaries up to block babies from being able to escape rooms or walk into the kitchen, right? You want to keep them safe. But they're saying we keep those boundaries up when we become adults because of fear. And their defense mechanisms, because the fear is present because we want to keep ourselves safe. And that's why they were saying earlier that in order to tap more into this creativity, use a different paintbrush by doing something that you wouldn't typically do. Stepping out of your comfort zone, like pushing yourself beyond the boundaries, beyond the barriers that have been placed. And some of those barriers came by means of these experiences where you felt like you lost something. And it's almost like the loss really was not the person, it wasn't the situation, it wasn't the job. The loss was the version of you that escaped in the process of losing yourself in that experience. By not becoming 100% reliant upon you and believing in you. You know, when you rely on someone or something, you believe that they're going to be there when nobody else is. You believe that they're going to support you when you don't have anybody else. And so they're saying here that that's what was lost, was that you were not able to rely and depend on yourself anymore. And that's where the fear comes in trying to do new things and trying to tap into new brushes. It's like I'm afraid because I've never been able to rely on myself. I've never been able to maybe rely on anybody else. So how do I start this? And you start this by simply operating in little areas or smaller areas of your life that you can trust yourself in. Like today, I'm going to eat healthy. And then do that all day today. Not I'm gonna eat healthy for the rest of the year. Like, let's not like create these long goals that are unrealistic and that we don't ever meet, right? It's like just start small. That's how you also support yourself, by giving grace to yourself and recognizing that you're a human and that you're allowed to make mistakes. It's not a failure, it's just a mistake, an error, an opportunity for you to learn a new lesson. They're almost saying, like, look at yourself as being the teacher who has wisdom that you're giving to yourself. And again, this is between your inner child and your higher self. Wow. I love stuff like this. I feel like lately they've been going kind of deep with this stuff. I'm like, I hope this makes sense. It makes sense to me, but it's because I can see it. Like in my mind's eye, I'm seeing everything that I'm telling you guys, but it's hard because it's hard to like explain these things sometimes. I just let them do what they do and I just go along with it. Okay. This card again. Okay, so we got this recently in a reading. I think last time I used this deck, but a blessing to shield and safeguard you. So this is just a heads up that as you step out into your more authentic self, as you allow yourself to be seen, because here they're showing these as what are those things called? Peacocks. Okay, they're showing these birds as peacocks. As you step into your authentic self and you allow yourself to be seen, as you walk in truth, as you walk with clarity and you're aware of who you are. This is also a lot of throat chakra energy where you're truly able to express yourself in your authenticity to yourself first, right? This is an awareness of your emotions, of your fears, of your doubts, of your concerns, your worries. They're saying that as you walk in this energy, you will be safeguarded. You will be protected. This is your team, these crows, these ravens here. This is your team. And I don't know if you can see, but they're kind of clothing her. So it's almost like you are already covered. You're protected. You are armored up and you will be kept safe. But the safest place to be is in yourself, in your authenticity. It's in the truest version of yourself that you will find the most peace. Now let's see what they want to say about this. This is a blessing for those who are nearing their final breath. And I actually love this card. It's definitely like, it always gives like hospice, like, like death vibes, but it's not that. It's not that. It's never that in a reading. I haven't seen that as that. And I've said this the last time it came out. I have done readings where I could tell somebody was going to not make it. This is not one of those readings, guys. It feels like it's about the old version of you dissolving, the version of you that is afraid, the version of you that's worried about transitions, the version of you that won't, and I'm not talking about death transitions, I'm talking about spiritual transitions where you allow your old self to fade away so that the newer can scream louder, right? It's like and that's what I'm picking up on this energy, guys. It's like quieting your old self less and less and less. Quieting the scared little girl who wants to operate from fear because she is concerned that things are not going to work out the way that she desires. Telling that little boy within that he's okay, he's good enough, he's validated. So that's how this feels to me, is that, it's like your ancestors are saying, you have our blessing. You are being blessed through this process of transformation, death and rebirth, almost like the phoenix who is rising from the ashes. As you allow yourself to fall into those metaphoric ashes to be burned away, like a burning away of the old. A burning away of the you, a dissolving of the you that doesn't allow you to show up. As that happens, you are absolutely being supported. And this is interesting because I've never seen this, but they're showing me this as Zadkiel. So the Archangel Zadkiel is the Archangel. Typically, like when I've seen him, he shows up with like this glimmer. It's like a gold glimmer, and it'll come and then it fades away. And you're like, what the heck? Come back. But the Archangel Zadkiel is the Archangel that reveals mysteries. And it's like, it goes along with this creativity because it's like the Archangel Zadkiel, when he appears and shows you something, he's only going to give you like one step, okay? So it's almost like those pebbles that are dropped along the forest floor so that you know where to go next. That's what Zadkiel does. He comes in, he drops a little nugget on you, gives you a little piece, and then says keep going. So it's like you use this paintbrush this time, and you paint the background, right, or the landscape, and then Zadkiel will come back to bless you with more with another paintbrush. So as you go through one experience, you gain what you need to gain there, then there are more opportunities. And they're saying that's the wisdom, and that's why no experience is actually a loss. No stage or phase in your life is a loss. Wow, they're also showing this as whenever someone transitions, because they were showing me this as like someone with cancer. Okay, not anybody watching this video, guys. They weren't showing it like that. They're just showing this to show me a description. So what they were showing, or to tell me how to give you the messages. Okay, so anyways, hard to explain. But so what they were showing is someone who has cancer. And when you have cancer and you're, say, for example, on hospice, you are going to phase out as you transition to the other side. And so that's how they started showing this to me initially, was like phases. Okay, so you go through one experience and then they showed Zadkiel, and I'm like, oh, I got it. Okay. But that's what they're saying, is just as someone fades out and transitions in actual death to the other side when they have cancer, it's the same thing here, that you are phasing out of the old version of you. And as you transition, once you cross to the other side, you're not dying physically, but spiritually, you're being rebirthed. Oh my God. I love it. Guys, this is the wrong thing for a nurse to be doing. This is fantastic. I love talking about stuff like this. Oh my God. I hope it makes sense to you guys. Okay, look. Wow, no way. Wisdom is at the bottom of the deck. On a Wednesday with a waxing moon, let wisdom come and be renewed. Oh my gosh. And I'm recording this on a Wednesday, guys. Wow. Wow, absolutely. If you see owls, this is a message for you. If you frequently see owls, especially like, look at these owls. They almost look like they're the same type of owl, but they're not, because these are barn owls. So that's another sign if you see barn owls. And this one, I don't know what type of owl this is. It's like a regular owl. It's not like anything specific. It just looks like a regular owl. But these are barn owls. I know that because I used to have little barn owl friends, guys. But anyways, definitely something about wisdom coming through for you, and maybe stopping and pausing and contemplating when you are getting down on yourself, because that's how they're showing, like, the energy feels like someone who thinks that they've been lost, or that they are lost, or that they can't seem to unlock the keys to spiritual mastery or success or victory. It's almost like you feel stuck or trapped, or you have in the past felt stuck or trapped in like a lack of growth. And this message is coming through to say, stop it, stop it. Your ancestors are saying, don't do that to yourself. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. And remember, with every lesson, okay, just like with curriculum here, with every lesson, you're gaining more and more wisdom. You know how school is often described as like building blocks, stepping stones, which with each grade level, you're gaining more and more insight. And it's just building upon what you'll need when you get to high school and then college, right? And you just continue to build on. That's the same thing with life. But right now in particular, you may feel even more loss. You may also feel sorrow. I'm feeling some heavy heart chakra energy right now. You may be feeling sorrow in regards to this transition here that they were showing in that card. And it has something to do with the fact that you're going to a new place. You're being reinvented. There's a rebirth that's occurring within you. I can't help but to look at that energy as the death card, which is transformation in tarot. There's a transformation that's occurring in you, and it feels uncomfortable because it is something you've never experienced before, and it's supposed to be uncomfortable, right? In order for things to shift, you have to have tension. You guys hear me talk about this all the time. So it's like this has to be tense, intense, in order for you to completely release. And you know, if you go back to the idea that they were showing earlier with the cancer patient, I can only imagine, you know, my grandmother, she had cancer, and I watched her transition. I can only imagine, and I remember seeing her in certain phases of that, thinking like, she must be uncomfortable, godly. And my grandmother was totally like completely happy about transitioning to the other side. She was like, let's go. Okay. But I'm confident that there were moments where she was very uncomfortable. You know, imagine when you feel like you can't breathe. For some of us, we experience that with anxiety. Anxiety will make you feel like you can't breathe, like you're hyperventilating, and you feel like your chest is tight. You know, you can get around energies, and other people's energy can make you feel like you can't breathe. So yes, this is supposed to be uncomfortable. It's supposed to be intense, but the reason why is you're leaving your old home. Imagine leaving somewhere you lived for 50 years. Okay, say you were born and raised in this one house, and at 50 years of age, you finally find someone, you get married, and they live in a different state. So you decide you're going to move with them. Imagine how you would feel leaving everything that you've ever known. That's exactly what this is. But the blessing in this is that you're safe. You see this safe home? This is where you're going. And it's almost like they're showing this. I've never noticed this before, like a doorbell. Okay. So imagine you're pushing that button and you're saying, I'm home. That's where you're going. That's where you're going. You're moving into your new home. This is a new space of residency for you. So let's read the card here. I cast this circle round about. Safety now is beyond a doubt. I love that. I love that. That also reverts back to the self-support card here. Because when you're supporting yourself, there's an awareness that you have the ability to connect directly to the divine. You are the divine, right? Like this is a one. We're one. Okay, so it's like the divinity is within me. So I have the ability to connect directly to source and to receive everything that I need to feel safe. There's also a ton of energy. Oh my gosh, even this is about home. Look, I want to keep these out. This home was at the bottom of the deck. Appreciate comfort and sense of belonging, okay? Let's keep these. I hope you guys can see these. But I was going to say there's a ton of energy about you being protected. So on this new path, you are absolutely protected from whatever it is that has put some fear in you. Look at this, guys. Cleanse. Clear space for positive energy. Oh my God, I'm putting that right there. Oh my gosh. That's so in alignment with what we are talking about. That's awesome because it's like a sweeping away. I love this. Look at the bottom of the deck. Is this divine feminine energy? This is where spirit is trying to get the collective to open up, in my opinion. Right now, to me, there is a massive push for us to fall in alignment with receptivity. See, we've been operating in the energy of Mars and masculine, divine masculine energy for years, where we've taken action towards everything. And there's almost, to me, like recently, I just felt this year. I've never even looked at things like this, but this year I feel this big push to shift into more receptivity, to live a softer life, a safer life, one that is not so aggressive in getting things done, but rather relaxing into things being done. Okay. And this doesn't mean that like somebody's going to come around and rescue us and just do everything for us. It's not about that. It's about accepting the divinity of who we are and embracing the fact that we have the power to shift everything around us based on our own energy, based on how self-sufficient, self-supportive we can be, based on that mirror. Because that's something else that's coming through in this. I guess I should keep, I put it over here. I was going to say, I guess I should keep this card out. But in this self-support here, this is also showing right now as the energy of mirroring. So what you put out is what you will receive. And when we say that, oftentimes it can be like, well, what do you mean? Like, what I put out is what I receive. It's exactly like that. You guys hear me talk about the vending machine as an example. But really what this is saying is, if you believe that you are supported, if you believe that you are abundance, meaning you don't feel like you're lacking, you don't feel like you need to go out and force something, you don't feel like you need to make something happen, you don't feel like you need to work to bring in abundance, you don't feel like you have to, go and do anything extravagant. Okay, we talked about it the other day. And I think they kind of explained it using like a plan B. Like anytime you have a plan B, you're removing God from being able to just act on your behalf, because you're essentially saying you can come up with your own ways. And this is not about that. This is a part of the divine feminine energy, is relying upon the divine. It's a submission, which we don't like that word, but it's a real thing. Because that's what allowance is. Allowance is the ability to relinquish your own way of doing things and to allow the divine to show you the right way to do things. And that's going to show up at some point in time in your life as doing nothing and just watching him work. Watching everything that you desire just fall in your lap by you not doing anything. And that's the complete opposite of what us human beings think, especially like Americans. Guys, we are taught to work. You don't get no breaks. You better work. Get your butt to work right now. Go work, right? It's like we're totally unaware of what rest is, what peace is, what a safe home is. We don't really know what those things are because they're so far from what we're used to. But as we move into the new, there's a shift in the energy. And again, it's something that I've been feeling since the beginning of the year, where there's a shift to move into more of a softer energy and allowing, because of the reality of it is when we are resisting. Imagine if someone has cancer and they're transitioning, they're in hospice care and they're transitioning and they're resisting it. I can't imagine that would be beneficial to them, because it's like you can see, especially for them, you can see the place of peace. You can see the place where you can rest. And even for you, you can see the place of peace. You can see the place of rest. You know that there's safety there. It's almost like a refuge, right? Like you know that you're going to be satisfied in that space. Yet you're resisting going there because you want to do things the way that you've always done them, because that's the only way that you believe things can get done. And you've recognized how lost you've been in the past, how you've felt homeless, isolated, right? Like you felt like you didn't have a path. They're showing me that compass and that map. So, it's like you didn't feel like you had a way forward before. Now you see that the way forward is through peace and more softer energy, through you allowing the old things, the old way of thinking to go away, but yet you don't necessarily do it. And it's because I think there's fear for sure, and I think that fear keeps things locked up. The discernment card is here, and what I'm just intuitively picking up on with this discernment card is the ability to choose. Okay, they're showing me this as like you have these paths, like you can fall into, what they're showing, like at the circus, how the people walk in these wheels. So they're showing that it's like you can choose to shift the wheel in whichever way you want, because it's almost like the wheel of fortune that's moving in one direction, but you're reversing it. And so they're saying that you can move the wheel in whichever direction you choose. However, when you feel lost, there's advice to return to wisdom. And you can find wisdom through creative endeavors. Stepping out and doing things that are different or uncomfortable for you. They're also showing me this solar plexus chakra and the heart chakra here, and how there's support in you being authentic. Okay, they're going back to that, a blessing to shield and safeguard you. There's support in you being authentic. So it's almost like they're asking, are you operating in authenticity when you're making these decisions? Like, are you being authentic to yourself in resisting the will? Like, if you move into this new home, is that really what you want? Or are you resisting by trying to escape? Okay, they'll bring me back to that because there's something else in there. It's like discernment is the feelings of, oh, this is what I should do, but then not doing it. When you get these feelings, when you're picking up on these different ideas, thoughts, when you get these nuggets of wisdom, when you pick up on these lessons, are you actually doing something with them? Let's read it. The frequency of discernment supports our ability to view the world and the people around us from a place of inner balance and detachment, yet with compassion and wisdom. So yeah, something in regards to being able to use discernment when faced with situations. It could be a specific person, but it feels to me more so like being able to see the world through the lens of discernment, like picking and choosing what's best for you based on like a wider perspective. And the perspective of the divine feminine is going to be balanced in the fact that she's able to rationalize and weigh options. She's going to keep herself first. She's not going to allow herself to operate from a space of fear because she's fully aware of her ability to be supported. And that's because she's not relying on anything or anyone else. She trusts herself. She trusts herself because she knows that God is within her. And she knows anytime she's lost, all she has to do is return home and she's safe. Wow, that's awesome. She also understands that there's transitions in life, right? Life is cyclical, and that as things fall. So whenever I'm reversing that wheel backwards, there's a recognition that, oh, I'm going the wrong way. I need to be pushing forward, no matter how challenging this is, no matter how hard it may seem, regardless as to whether or not everything feels locked. Even if I'm the one that's locking the door, I'm still going to push forward because I recognize that I'm the one who controls the will. It's so interesting, guys. This Empress is sitting at the bottom of the deck, and look, she has this will. Isn't that crazy? She has this will, and she's turning it. And she's turning it towards things that are aligned with her. She's turning it towards things that are... See, this map here is almost showing it like astrologically aligned, and it's rooted in love because she sees the world through her heart chakra. This is Venus energy through love. I'm going to keep this here because I don't think I'm going to draw any tarot cards. But she sees the world through this lens. And it's because she understands that in experiences where she may have taken losses, that those were lessons and that she was able to unlock something by gaining wisdom. Now, we mentioned Archangel Zadkiel earlier, but just know that you are extremely supported. Look at this angel assistance. This is Archangel Metatron with his geometrical, I don't know, I always mispronounce what these are, but anyways, it's like this. I think this might be like the Kabbalah if you open the whole thing up. But anyways, so Archangel Metatron is the Archangel of Destiny. And I'm just going to intuitively give you what I'm picking up on this card. I'm not going to read the guidebook, but there's something in regards to clarity on how to move forward that Archangel Metatron wants to share. Metatron is the one that assists and supports you. Oh, with unlocking your destiny. That's why the lock is here. Because that's the message, is that Archangel Metatron is trying to assist you in unlocking your destiny by allowing you the opportunity to shift into this new transitioning. Then you have change at the bottom of the deck. This is a change of seasons. The old season is over. It's time for the old to fall away. Like fall, autumn has already been presented. Fall and autumn are gone. Now it's time for you to shift into the new. It's springtime. Springtime we receive, right? In spring we receive. And so they're saying to use your discernment to allow you to see the world through the lens of being supported. I think that's another thing that they're saying, is that a lot of you may feel like you're not supported, but you are. You have angels. You have your ancestors, spirit, God. You are extremely supported. And this is to, look, awaken your awareness, to open you up to new experiences. As you go through these, different layers of flying, there's different, we keep talking about this, it's the same thing, guys. You're going to unlock a different level of awareness, and this is to get you to operate in this space. We've been talking about this the whole time, the throat chakra. Express your truth, standing in your authenticity. And this looks like the little diamond that Archangel Metatron is holding. It's just more pointed, and it's more pointed. They're saying it's more defined because this is you defining where you want to go. Your angels will take you where you want to go. Your ancestors will get you where you want to go, but you have to align yourself with that. And that's where this self-support comes in, is it's about aligning yourself to your desires and not running from them. Unlocking your truths. Unlocking your truths, allowing yourself to cleanse away the old. I want to keep this cleansed by this here because that's what that transition is about. As you near the final breath of the old versions of you, what do you want to unlock? What do you want to learn? What do you want to become an expert in? Because it really is like become the expert of you. It's almost like you're moving into a new home because you've outgrown the old home. So that home that you've been living in for 50 years, I'm just making that number up, guys. The home that you've been living in for the last 50 years is outdated. You need to remodel it. And it needs to be completely demolished, actually. So as you demolish the old home, step into the new. The new version of you is this Empress energy who has the ability to churn the wheel, but discerning the will through the lens of love versus discerning the will through the lens of lost, of what was mistakes or abandoned. Because remember, nothing is really lost. In every experience, you've gained some type of wisdom, and you can view this as a detour. And this detour is changing the course of your life and moving you into more authenticity in alignment with what you feel is safe and secure for your future. This is powerful as heck. I love this. I hope it resonates with you guys. If so, feel free to drop a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for being here. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.